This is a demonstration on how to use a rubric to grade group discussions. There is a separate video out on how to grade regular discussions, but this one's specifically for groups. So I'm going to go over to the discussion board and show you what I've got going so far. I'll scroll down to where my group discussion is. It's called Otter Bay Email. So in this group discussion, you can see I've got my forum created and my two groups. I've already gone in and done the assessment piece here, but I'll show you where you do that. So you would go in and edit each group and go to the assessment tab. When you're grading group discussions, you do not attach it to a grade item. You simply put in a score out of. So put in your point value there, and you do not put your rubric here. So really, for getting this ready in the discussion area, you need to set up your forum and your topics for your groups, but then on the assessment tab, you only need to enter the score. And then you would save and close. And you would need to do this for each of your group topics. So for each group, group 1, group 2, group 3, however many groups you have, you add that assessment piece. The next step would be to go over to your grade book. And I would suggest that you open a separate window for this because you're going to need to be switching from your grade book to your discussion board back and forth as you're grading each individual student. So I went ahead and opened my grade book. I opened another web browser and opened the same class, and I'll go here into the grade book. I already have a grade item created for my group discussion, and I'm going to go in and edit that because now I want to add my rubric here. So I go to Edit. You could also do this as you're creating the grade item, but since it's already there, I'm going to come back to it and edit. So I've got my name here, I've got my point value, and if you scroll just a little bit further down, you'll see where you can add your rubric. So you would click Add Rubric, and you would find the rubric that you want to use. I believe it's this top one. So this video really isn't showing you how to create your rubrics. That's a separate training. This is just showing you how to apply it to discussions. So I add my rubric here and click Add Selected. That adds it here, and I can do Save and Close. Okay, so now I've got my rubric attached to my grade item, and now I'm ready to grade this. The discussion period is over, and now I need to assess. Again, you're going to have those two windows open. So you can get to the point you need to be here by clicking Grade All. And within the grade book, you can see now there's a new column for the assessment piece. That's the rubric. But now to grade group discussion, you need to sort your grade book by groups, click Apply, and which group? Well, this happens to be the peer review group, and I'm going to look at group 2 and click Apply. All right, so this screen is ready for me to use my grade or my rubric, but now let's go back to the discussion window. Bear with me, this is a lot of switching back and forth, but in order to get around some of the limitations of these tools, this is what we need to do. So now I'm back in my discussion area, and group 2 is the only one that has any activity. That's why I chose group 2. I'm going to go in and look at these posts, but instead of clicking in group 2 here right into where the discussions are, I'm going to click the drop down arrow and go to Assess. Here again, I'm going into the groups. Which group? Well, it's the peer review group 2. That brings up only the students that are in this group. Otherwise, you would see a listing of your entire class here, and really that's not going to work because only these two students are in this group. So it wouldn't make sense for me to look at trainee, for example, trainees 2, 4, and 5 here because there would be no posts because they aren't even in the group. All right, so I can look at trainee number 1. I can look at their topic score here. And what this does by adding that little assessment piece is it brings all the activity from trainee number 1 for this topic in one place. It's all in a scrollable list. You can see the original post. You can see here's a reply. And if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see all of the posts by that student. At the top of the page, it'll tell you how many posts. Now, this is not what you're going to enter, so don't enter into anything in the topic score. From the discussion board, all you're going to be looking at is the actual posts here. Keep in mind what you're looking for with your rubric because you're going to go back to that in just a second. So you're going to take a look at what they did and close that. Then you need to go back to your gradebook. So let me open up the gradebook here. Here I am in my gradebook. Remember, it's still sorted, so I'm seeing the correct students. Now I can look at my rubric. I can pull that up. This rubric is a little bit more detailed. However, it doesn't get a lot of description in there. But you can go through each of your criteria and give your student the points that they have earned. I'm not really looking at this, I'm just clicking right now, but you would assess what the student earned in each of these criteria. The score will be totaled for you. You have to keep an eye on that point value because you'll need to enter it on the next screen. I'll save it, and that simply saves the rubric, and then I can close it. Remember, it was 8 points, so then at this part I enter an 8 and I save it. Yes, I do want to save. So now I would move on to my next student. So I would go again back to the discussion area. Now I'm taking a look at trainee 3 posts. I can scroll through here and do some assessing what I'm looking for. You may even be able to leave this little window up and go back and forth depending on how big of a window you have or a monitor that you have. And then you would go back to your gradebook. Here I am at the gradebook. I open my rubric. Again, I evaluate my student. And maybe they didn't do that. And they forgot that. All right, so I would total up their points, 8, save it. Close that, enter my score, and save. So then you might be curious as what it looks like to the student. I will switch screens here and show you that. Okay, so now I'm in as trainee number 1, and this person wants to see their grade, so they will go to the grade book. Here's their Otter Bay group discussion. You can see the score has been put in here, and the assessment details will be their actual rubric. They can click on it. It will bring up a window where they can actually go through and scroll down and see all of the areas that you've entered. If you've entered any additional feedback in the rubric or in the individual score and feedback areas, those would be visible as well. So that's how it works with group discussions, and let me know if you have any questions.